Hi friends, so my name is Jess and today I'm going to be sharing my birth story. So let's jump right into the story. To start out with, I want to say that I had a home birth, not a water birth, just a home birth, and it was super gentle and super positive experience for me and my baby, I believe too. So this is that story. Okay, so a few days before she actually made her arrival, we were at an appointment with our midwife, and I was expressing how I was getting ready to meet her because my mom and my grandma were coming from Canada to help with postpartum and help with the baby. And they were coming November 1st, and it was probably November 28th. So it was it was October 28th. And that date felt like it was just really fastly approaching. So our midwife had said that she was comfortable waiting like 2 weeks for the baby to come on her own timing. It was just us that was more curious to other options because I was trying everything to get her to want to come early. I was on the exercise ball. I was drinking tea, like red raspberry leaf tea. That was a tongue twister for just a second. Sorry. But nothing was helping. Like the things that we could do at home, nothing was helping. Nothing was making her come, you know? So she had told us that there was the option to strip my membranes, which would be like a natural induction. And I was like, well, like, one, it's pretty invasive, which the whole pregnancy, just in general, I'm a very private, conservative person, and I really didn't want that. I didn't want the invasiveness of what it would take to strip my membranes. So I had decided, and I also wanted her to come as naturally and as organically as possible, and I wanted her to come when she was ready. And she's never experienced anything outside of utero, so for us to rush her along, I didn't feel right about it. So I became more patient waiting for her, which, her name, Patience, but anyways, so a few days later, I was sitting on the couch. It was probably 5:30, 6 o'clock in the evening, and I had started to acknowledge some of these feelings that I was having. They were lasting for quite a bit of time, and they were happening very close together. But I didn't want to false alarm anything, so I first just downloaded an app, and I was tracking when they were happening, how long they were happening for, and on average, I would say they were about 5 to 6 minutes apart, lasting for about 45 seconds, which is pretty much active labor. So, which is when you're supposed to contact your midwife. So I texted my midwife and I said, hey, I don't want to false alarm anything. I'm not sure that this is labor, but I just wanted to make you aware. She said, don't worry, just relax. They're probably going to slow down because sometimes labor can start that way. They can start happening really close together, and then they spread out, and then, yeah. Because most people don't usually start in active labor. I had taken her advice. She had told me to just lay down, try to get some rest, because labor is a long process, and you need as much strength as you can. So what did I do? I went to my bed and I laid down, and as soon as I laid down, immediate regret, because as soon as a contraction hit, I was unable to keep my body loose and keep my body open. Everything just tensed up because I wasn't capable of feeling relief in ways that my body was telling me I could get it. So as soon as that contraction was over, I got out of bed and I was like, that's not happening for me. So I line danced. That is how I got through my labor. I line danced in the living room, and I line danced in the hallway, and I line danced in the kitchen. I line danced everywhere. That's what my body was telling me to do, so I listened. And every time a contraction would hit, I'd either put my arms on the countertop and I'd sway my hips back and forth, or I would bounce. And that really helped work with gravity, with pushing this baby down. And I do believe that it helped the process go a lot smoother. And I just kept repeating to myself that my body is open. It can open. I can birth this baby. And I kept repeating those things to myself all throughout labor, just to help my body expand and open for her head. So I call my husband and I say, hey, I think I'm in labor, but don't worry, I'm fine. I was handling and I was coping just fine on my own. Just come when you can, because it's probably going to be a long process. So after I got off the phone with him, I called my mom and I continued to line dance while I was on the phone with her. And yeah, every time a contraction would hit, my voice would get soft and I wasn't quite able to speak through the contractions. I would just move my hips, and yeah, in the beginning of the conversation, she did not know that I was in labor, but in the middle of the conversation, I had told her that I was in labor, because I didn't want anybody, any family members, any friends to know that I was in labor, because it was really important to me to have the space that I needed, the time that I needed, and to, like, after her arrival, it was really important to me to have time where it was just like me and patience and my husband. It was really important to me to have the first connections, because it helps with milk supply coming in, with not having people hold her that are other than the mother. It helps with connection and regulating body temperature. No one else can do that other than the mom. So yeah, those were really important to me, and I didn't want people coming over and expecting to be able to hold my baby. Yeah, so sounds selfish, but it's really not, because it's your baby and it's your family, and you have to do what feels right for you and what's important to you. So yeah, after a few hours of talking to my mom, I had called my husband again and I said, hey, I really need you, because all I wanted was counter pressure on my back. And you learn that technique in birthing class. And you can also probably watch a video on how to do it. So all I wanted was counter pressure. So he was on his way home. It took him probably a half an hour to get home, when it really should have taken him an hour, because he was an hour away at his grandma's. And yeah, so while he was on his way home, I got in the shower, because it can relieve some of the tension. That is not the case for me. It was not fun. I decided I wanted to take a full-blown shower, apparently. So I was washing my hair and everything. So yeah, every time a contraction would hit, I would have to rip the curtain open, and I would have to breathe the cold air in and bounce. And that's how I got through all of my labor. But during the shower was the worst, because the hot air from the shower was just, it wasn't relaxing like I had expected it to be. It was just hot. It was just very hot. So a little bit of time had gone by. My husband had gotten home, and I had asked him, I was like, I need you to call my midwife because I think I need her. I really need her. So he called her, and she came over, and like this, it was happening really fast. Labor was very, very fast, and none of us were expecting it to be as fast as it was, because it's untypical for a first-time mom. So, yeah, I had acknowledged that I needed to poop. TMI, but it's truth. So, I would sit down on the toilet, and prior to that, pretty much the whole rest of my labor leading up to that point, I would poop. I would not push, but I would just poop, because your body's extracting your colon so you can have more room for the head to come through. Totally normal. But this time I needed to push, and my body was telling me that I needed to push this poop out. And I was like, well, one, there can't be anything left in me. But two, that means that's a head, and that means that I'm trying to push this baby out. My body's telling me to push this baby out. But I just kept bouncing through the contractions. I was ignoring the feeling of pushing because my midwife had not yet arrived. When she had arrived, she had looked at me and she was like, wow, this is a lot faster, or you're a lot farther along than I thought you were. So she had requested that she check me to see how dilated I was. That's something that I told her. I was very firm with her, actually, because I was very against being checked leading up to the birth, because I know that some people get checked every hour, and I just did not want to be discouraged. I didn't want to be in labor for 12 hours and then only be 3 centimeters dilated, and I think it's super intense, and that's not what I wanted. I didn't want to be discouraged. I wanted it to just happen, and I wanted it just my body to be telling me that this is the next step. But when she came at that point, labor had gotten so intense, and for me, I still don't associate labor with pain. When I was in labor, I didn't associate labor with pain. I associated labor with intensity, and I still associate with intensity, great intensity. I don't know what other word I would use to describe it, other than intense. It was just really intense. So, yeah, I have practiced a lot of hypnobirthing techniques. I did not believe I was going to have a pain-free birth, making that clear. I didn't want to psych myself out and believe that I was going to have a pain-free birth, because I don't think that that's realistic to think that it's not going to have some sort of, that you're not going to feel anything. Me, once again, I did not experience pain, I experienced intensity. But yeah, I took a lot of the techniques from hypnobirthing and gentle birthing, and I kind of formed it into what worked for me. And that is what I did. I was trying to breathe the baby out, and I was focusing on my body, and I was focusing on keeping my body open, and just trusting in my body, allowing my body to do what it needed to do, and what it needs to do, to get this baby out. Yeah, so my midwife had gotten there, and I went on a little rabbit trail. She had asked if she could check me, and since labor had gotten so intense at that point, I was like, yeah, I just want to see how much farther I have to go. So she had checked me, and I was 9 centimeters dilated, so that it really made sense. why I was feeling the things I was feeling, why it was so intense. I couldn't talk through my contractions. And yeah, so she was like, you're going to progress soon and you're going to be wanting to start pushing soon. So pretty much instantly it felt like I was like, I want to push. So I continued to try to breathe the baby out. That did not work the whole time I was pushing. I pushed for about an hour in total. And I just was trying really hard to just breathe this baby out and focus on my breathing. In the end, I ended up pushing because that's what my body was telling me to do. Yeah, so I was laboring first standing up in like the bouncing position, and then I was brought to my knees by a contraction. And I labored there for a little bit longer, and then my midwife had a stool. I tried to labor on that. That did not even last for a full contraction. I did not like that. And then my midwife had said that you should try laboring on the bed, and I was very hesitant to labor on the bed because of my prior experience with the bed. But I was like, she has my best interest in mind, and she knows what she's doing. She cares about this whole process, and she's not gonna tell me something that's only gonna make it worse. But she said, we can obviously always change it if it doesn't work for you. And it's just so reassuring when you have a midwife, because they really do. They really genuinely care about you and about the baby, and they respect the process of labor and birth, and they respect the mother and how best she feels, and they can catch a baby in whatever position you want them to. So yeah, so I had tried it, and I actually didn't mind it. So my husband was supporting my back and my head, and the midwife's assistant was helping prop my legs open because my legs were kind of like this, and I was laying on the bed. And my midwife, I think I had my foot on her shoulder, and then she was like putting hot rags, and she was she was coaching me in how to push, and she caught the baby, and she plopped her on my chest after I gotten out of the shower. I just did not put clothes back on because I did not feel like putting clothes back on. So she had plopped the baby on my chest, and that was the most beautiful moment I think I have ever experienced in my entire life. Like, just the love you feel as soon as that baby is plopped on your chest is just, oh my word. And her little butt was in my hand. Oh, she is like the sweetest little angel, and it was just unconditional love that you feel in that moment. So we laid there for, I don't know, time is not a thing. So she was actually born at 12:52, and I labored for maybe like 6 to 7 hours with her. She was born, and her weight was 5 pounds 6 ounces, and she was very small for being a week overdue. And it just really reassured me that we made the right decision to not try to rush the process, because she needed every second that she had in utero to prepare to come into the world. And it was just, everything just made sense, and everything just felt so calm and so amazing. And yeah, we were just having our moment. She tried breastfeeding. Something that nobody really talks about are the shakes. I had really bad shakes after giving birth. Like, pretty much right after I gave birth, I was just shaking. And it's just from the adrenaline and your body trying to express that adrenaline. And yeah, that's something I wasn't really expecting to happen, but I shook a lot, which is completely normal. It's completely natural. Yeah, so after that, she nursed. I tried using the bathroom, and then it's probably around 3 o'clock, I think, 3 or 4 when my midwife, when my midwife had left. And everything was really great with birth. Like the midwife's assistant, she was like, "Are you sure that this wasn't the first time you had given birth?" But it's because I felt so confident in my ability to birth the baby, and I listened to their advice. And I don't recommend that you listen to everybody's advice, because not everybody has your best interest in mind. But in the situation that I was with a home birth and being able to choose my midwife, and and if I wanted to have a doula, you can have doulas in hospitals too, but I felt comfortable listening to their advice. So yeah, that was really encouraging to me. I can hear my daughter, so that's why I'm kind of starting to like stutter. But it was super organic. It was super gentle, and I didn't tear. And right after her birth, or I was saying this, at 3 o'clock, my midwife had left and we had gone to sleep. My daughter did sleep on my chest for the first night. I know not everybody will support that decision, but she did, because I didn't want to be that far from her. And yeah, so we slept, we rested, and then in the morning, probably around 8, 9, 10, 12, I don't know, some sort of time, we called our family members and showed them our daughter. So yeah, it was super gentle and super awesome, and that is my birth story. So yeah. I'm gonna get my daughter. Hi! Can you say bye? Oh. Can you wave bye? Bye! Bye! Mwah. Mama. Yeah, mama. So sweet.